Welcome to this exciting journey into the world of rare stamps, history, and hidden treasures. Today we are going to explore a very interesting United States postage stamp featuring the Statue of Liberty, a symbol of freedom and one of the most recognizable designs in American stamp history. Many people see old stamps as simple pieces of paper, but collectors around the world know that some stamps can carry incredible historical value and become valuable collectibles. This small piece of American postal history has a story connected to the growth of stamp collecting, the importance of national symbols, and the fascinating world of the stamp market. The stamp shown is a United States 3-cent postage stamp featuring the Statue of Liberty design. It was part of a long-running series of American stamps that celebrated important national themes and symbols. The design shows the Statue of Liberty holding her torch, with the famous words, "In God we trust" and "Liberty" appearing on the stamp. The Statue of Liberty has always represented freedom, hope, and opportunity, making this type of stamp popular among collectors who enjoy American history. This stamp was issued during the mid-20th century period when millions of Americans used postage stamps every day for sending letters, postcards, and documents. Because it was produced in large quantities, the common versions of this stamp are not usually extremely rare. However, the value of a stamp is not only decided by its age. Many factors affect the market price, including condition, rarity, printing errors, unusual features, and collector demand. In today's stamp market, a normal used example of this Statue of Liberty 3-cent stamp may often have a value around a few cents to a few dollars depending on condition. A clean, unused stamp with original gum, sharp design, and excellent preservation can be worth more to collectors. High-quality examples graded by professional stamp organizations may attract stronger prices, especially if they have rare characteristics. Collectors always look closely at the condition of a stamp. A stamp with clear perforations, bright colors, no tears, no stains, and a well-preserved surface is much more desirable. Even a common stamp can become more interesting if it has a special printing variety or a rare mistake from the production process. Some stamp errors, such as missing colors, wrong designs, or unusual printing problems, can dramatically increase value because collectors search for these unique discoveries. The modern stamp market has changed because of online auctions and international collecting communities. Today, collectors can buy and sell stamps from around the world, making it easier to compare prices and discover rare examples. Websites, auction houses, and collector groups help determine the current demand and market trends. A stamp that was ignored years ago can sometimes become more interesting when a new generation of collectors starts searching for it. For a stamp like this Statue of Liberty issue, the most important question is not only how old is it, but also, what makes this specific example special? Two stamps that look identical can have completely different values. One may be worth only a small amount, while another, with a rare variety, perfect condition, or important history could attract serious collector attention. The world of stamp collecting is full of surprises because every stamp represents a moment in time. A small postage stamp can tell stories about countries, famous people, important events, art, and technology. This is why collectors continue searching through old albums, family collections, and forgotten boxes, hoping to discover a valuable treasure. When checking the value of an old stamp, collectors usually examine several things. They check the year of issue, the printing details, the color quality, the condition, the cancellation mark if used, and whether the stamp has any rare features. Professional catalogs and expert opinions are often used before deciding the real market value. The Statue of Liberty 3-cent stamp may not be among the most expensive American stamps ever sold, but it remains an important collectible because of its beautiful design and historical connection to one of America's greatest landmarks. For many collectors, the value is not only measured in dollars, but also in the history and memories preserved inside this small piece of paper. In today's market, collectors are becoming more interested in classic American stamps, especially those connected with famous symbols and historical themes. The demand for well-preserved stamps continues because collectors appreciate the artwork, craftsmanship, and stories behind each issue. A simple stamp that once paid for a letter decades ago can now become a piece of history sitting inside a collector's album. So before throwing away old stamps found in drawers, books, or family collections, it is always worth taking a closer look. Some stamps may be common, but others may contain unusual features that make them valuable. The world of stamps is full of hidden possibilities, and every discovery begins with curiosity. This Statue of Liberty postage stamp is a perfect example of how a small collectible can connect us with the past. It reminds us that history can be preserved in the smallest objects, and sometimes the things we overlook today can become fascinating treasures tomorrow. The true beauty of stamp collecting is not only finding expensive items, but discovering the stories behind them and understanding why collectors around the world continue to value these amazing pieces of history. Next up, we are looking at a classic United States postage stamp featuring the famous portrait of George Washington. This beautiful green 3-cent stamp represents an important chapter in American postal history and has attracted the attention of collectors for generations. Although it may look like an ordinary old stamp at first glance, every detail, from the design to the printing style, can tell a story about the era in which it was created. This stamp features the portrait of George Washington, the first president of the United States and one of the most important figures in American history. Washington's image has appeared on many American stamps throughout history because of his importance as a national symbol. The green color, detailed engraving style, and classic design make this type of stamp a popular item among collectors who appreciate early American postal issues. The 3-cent Washington stamp belongs to a period when engraved stamps were carefully produced with detailed artwork. Unlike modern digital printing, these older stamps were created using traditional engraving techniques that required skill and precision. The fine lines in Washington's portrait, the decorative border, and the lettering show the craftsmanship used in stamp production during that time. When it comes to market value today, the price of a Washington 3-cent stamp can vary greatly depending on the exact issue, year, printing type, and condition. Many common examples found in collections may have a value ranging from a few cents to a few dollars. However, rare versions, special printing varieties, unused examples with original gum, or stamps preserved in excellent condition can be worth much more to serious collectors. The condition of the stamp is one of the most important factors that determines value. Collectors carefully examine whether the stamp has clear and complete perforations, strong color, sharp details, and no damage. A stamp that has been protected for many years can attract more interest than one that has faded, torn, or heavily used. Even small differences in quality can create a large difference in price. Another important factor is rarity. Millions of some Washington stamps were produced, which means normal examples are easier to find. But during the printing process, small mistakes or unusual variations sometimes happened. These errors can include differences in color, printing alignment, paper type, or design details. Rare errors are highly valued because collectors enjoy owning something unusual that only a limited number of people possess. The stamp collecting market today is active around the world. Online auctions, collector groups, and specialized marketplaces allow people to buy, sell, and research stamps more easily than ever before. American classic stamps remain popular because they connect collectors with the history of the United States and the development of communication over time. A stamp like this, Washington 3-cent issue, is not only a collectible item, it is a small historical document. It represents a time when letters were one of the main ways people communicated. Families, businesses, and governments relied on postal services, and these stamps played a small but important role in everyday life. Many people discover old stamps in inherited albums, storage boxes, or collections passed down through generations. Sometimes people think these stamps are worthless because they are small and old, but collectors know that every stamp should be examined carefully. The real value depends on details that are not always obvious to someone who is not familiar with stamp collecting. Professional collectors often use stamp catalogs and expert opinions to identify the exact type of stamp and estimate its value. Important details such as the printing method, perforation style, watermark, and condition can help determine whether a stamp is common or a rare treasure. The George Washington 3-cent stamp remains a favorite among many collectors because of its classic American design and historical importance. While many examples may have modest value, the excitement of stamp collecting comes from the possibility of discovering a special piece. A small difference in a stamp's production history can sometimes turn an ordinary-looking item into a valuable collectible. The beauty of old stamps is that they preserve moments from the past. They show famous leaders, important symbols, and artistic designs from different periods of history. Collectors are not only buying paper, they are collecting stories, memories, and pieces of a country's heritage. So if you ever find old stamps like this Washington 3-cent issue, do not judge them only by their appearance. Look closely at the details, protect their condition, and learn about their history. The world of stamp collecting is full of surprises, and every old stamp has a story waiting to be discovered. This classic George Washington postage stamp is a reminder that even the smallest objects can carry great historical meaning. Whether valued at a few dollars or much more in rare cases, its importance comes from the connection it creates between the past and the present. For collectors around the world, stamps like this continue to inspire curiosity, passion, and the excitement of finding hidden treasures. Next up, we are looking at a fascinating United States postage stamp featuring the portrait of Abraham Lincoln, one of the most respected and important presidents in American history. This classic purple 3-cent stamp is a remarkable example of how a small piece of paper can carry a powerful story, historical importance, and potential value in today's collector market. The stamp shown features Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, who is remembered for leading the country during the Civil War and for his role in ending slavery in America. Because of his historical importance, Lincoln has appeared on many American stamps over the years, and collectors around the world continue to search for different Lincoln stamp issues. This stamp has a traditional engraved design, a style that was common in older American postage production. The detailed portrait, decorative borders, and classic lettering show the careful craftsmanship used by stamp designers and engravers. During this era, creating a stamp required great attention to detail because every line and feature had to be precisely produced. The 3-cent value on this stamp was originally created for everyday postal use, helping Americans send letters and packages during its time period. Millions of stamps were produced, meaning many examples can still be found today. However, the value of a stamp is not only based on how old it is. Collectors consider many different factors before deciding its market value. In today's stamp market, a common used example of this Abraham Lincoln 3-cent stamp may usually have a value ranging from a small amount to a few dollars depending on condition. A well-preserved unused example with original gum, strong color, and excellent appearance can be more desirable. Rare varieties, printing mistakes, or special conditions can increase the value significantly. One of the most important parts of stamp collecting is learning how to identify details. Collectors examine the stamp's paper, printing style, perforations, color shade, and any unusual features. A small difference that looks unimportant to a normal person can sometimes be a major discovery for an experienced collector. The word sense and the design elements on this stamp are part of the classic American postal style. The black cancellation mark across the lower area shows that this stamp was used through the postal system. Used stamps can still be valuable, especially when they have a rare design, unusual marking, or historical connection. The stamp market today has changed dramatically because collectors can now research and trade worldwide through online platforms and auction houses. Rare American stamps are searched for by collectors who enjoy history, artwork, and the challenge of finding unusual pieces. Many collectors are interested not only in expensive stamps, but also in stamps that represent important moments in time. Abraham Lincoln stamps are especially popular because Lincoln remains one of the most recognized figures in American history. His image represents leadership, change, and a significant period in the development of the United States. For many collectors, owning a Lincoln stamp is like owning a small piece of American heritage. When determining the value of a stamp like this, collectors often look at several questions. Is it a rare issue? Is the color still bright? Are the edges and perforations complete? Is the stamp damaged or well preserved? Does it have a special printing variety? These details can separate an ordinary stamp from a collectible treasure. Many valuable stamps are discovered in old albums, inherited collections, and boxes that have been stored for decades. Sometimes people overlook old stamps because they appear simple, but collectors know that hidden value can sometimes be found in unexpected places. The excitement of stamp collecting comes from discovery. Every stamp has a journey. It may have traveled across a city, crossed a country, or carried an important message many years ago. The stamp itself becomes a connection between the past and the present. This Abraham Lincoln 3-cent stamp is a great example of how history, art, and collecting come together. While many versions of this type of stamp may have a modest market price, certain rare examples can attract serious attention from collectors. The real value depends on the exact stamp details, rarity, and condition. For anyone interested in collecting stamps, learning and researching are the keys to success. Understanding the difference between common and rare issues helps collectors make better decisions and appreciate the stories behind every piece. Old stamps are more than just paper with pictures. They are historical memories preserved through time. A small stamp featuring Abraham Lincoln can remind us of an important era in American history and show how even everyday objects can become valuable pieces of the past. So whenever you find an old stamp, take a closer look. Check the design, the condition, and the details. You never know when a simple-looking stamp might reveal an interesting story or become a special treasure in the world of collecting. This Lincoln 3-cent postage stamp continues to capture attention because it combines beautiful artwork, historical importance, and the endless curiosity that makes stamp collecting such a fascinating hobby.